Hi, and welcome to Cenario, your partner in mental wellness. Here on our channel, we share educational, insightful, and science-backed content to help you understand your mental health and take meaningful steps toward a more balanced life. If you're ready to learn, grow, and take control of your wellness journey, let's jump right in.
All right, let's dive right into something fascinating. We're going to be talking about psychobiotics and tackling a really big question. Can what's happening in your gut actually change what's going on up here in your head?
I mean, it sounds a little like science fiction, doesn't it? The idea that these trillions of microscopic organisms just living their lives inside you could have a say in your mood, how you handle stress, your entire mental state. Well, as we're about to see, the science backing this up is getting stronger and more compelling every single day. So to really get how this is even possible, we've got to start with this amazing and maybe a little surprising connection between your gut and your brain. Okay, think of it like this. There's a biological superhighway called the gut-brain axis. And I mean, it's a constant two-way communication line. Information is just zipping back and forth between your digestive system and your brain, traveling along major nerves like the vagus nerve and through your immune system. This constant chatter is exactly why changing the environment in your gut can send these powerful ripples all the way up to your brain. And that brings us to the absolute core of our explainer today, psychobiotics. These are a very special class of microbes that are thought to use that superhighway for a very specific and very cool purpose. So what exactly are psychobiotics? Well, to put it simply, they're probiotics, live beneficial bacteria that have been shown to have a real positive impact on mental health. We're not just talking about general wellness here. The focus is squarely on supporting things like mood and cognitive function.
This is the big question, right? It's one thing to say they work, but how? How on earth do these tiny organisms manage to influence something as incredibly complex as the human brain?
Well, researchers have basically pinpointed three main pathways. First, they can help lower inflammation throughout the body, which we know is linked to mood disorders. Second, they can actually influence key brain chemicals like serotonin and something called BDNF, that's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is absolutely crucial for the growth of brain cells. And third, they can improve metabolic stuff that directly impacts how our brain functions.
And the clinical evidence? It's pretty compelling. Get this. A major recent review looked at a bunch of trials and found that in 8 out of 9 of them, psychobiotics led to a meaningful improvement in mood. That is a remarkably consistent signal, especially for such a new field of research.
And it's not just any bacteria doing the work. Specific families seem to be the real heavy lifters. For instance, Lactobacillus strains are often linked with reducing anxiety. Meanwhile, Bifidobacterium strains have been connected to improvements in depression scores. And what's really interesting is that formulas combining multiple strains often work best, probably because they can tackle all those different pathways we just talked about at the same time. But, and this is a big but, as with any exciting new science, it is so important to balance that excitement with a healthy dose of reality. So let's be super clear about what psychobiotics can and what they can't do right now.
So the promise is huge, right? A low-risk, natural way to support your mood and reduce stress. The reality, though, is that for now, the benefits, when they do show up, are often modest. It's not a night and day change for most people, and not everyone responds, which is why the scientific community is unanimous on this. We need more, bigger, and longer studies. So why the variation? Why does it work for some people and not others? Well, a lot of the studies so far have been pretty small, and they all use different combinations of strains and doses. But maybe the most important factor is us. Each of us has a completely unique gut environment. Your diet, your genetics, your starting gut health, all of that plays a massive role in whether a specific probiotic is going to do anything for you. Okay, so with all that in mind, what if you're curious? What if you want to try them for yourself? Let's switch gears for a second and walk through a safe and practical way to approach this. So if you're standing in the aisle looking at a wall of products, here's what actually matters. Look for formulas with multiple species, especially ones that have both Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. Check for a clear CFU count. That's just colony-forming units, basically the dose. You want to see the specific strains listed, not just the family name. And hey, for an extra boost, you might even consider symbiotics, which also include prebiotics. That's the food that helps all these good bacteria thrive. Now, if you do decide to try them, it's important to be methodical about it. you've got to give it a fair shot. I'm talking at least 4 weeks. It takes time for your gut microbiome to actually shift. Maybe keep a simple journal to track your mood. If you start to notice some positive changes, you can check in with yourself again at the 8-week mark. And this is the most important part. Please talk to your doctor before you start anything, especially if you have other health conditions or take any medications.
You know, there's a quote from the research that I think just sums this all up perfectly. Psychobiotics are not a cure-all. They're not a magic bullet, and they are definitely not a replacement for therapy or medication. What they are, though, is a promising, low-risk tool that can be added to a wellness plan to support mood and stress for some people. And this all leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought, doesn't it? For decades, we've been looking at the brain almost in isolation. But what if a huge key to a healthier mind is really understanding its deep, intricate connection to that vibrant, bustling world living inside our own gut? The science is really just getting started.
Thank you for watching Cenario. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. For personalized mental wellness supplements, visit Cenario.com. See you in the next one.